Good day, everyone. My name is Wailik, and the chosen topic for this assignment is weak enforcement and governance gaps. So, since Malaysia independence in 1957, forests have played an important role in supporting the nation's resource-based socio-economic development. As today Malaysia drives to become a high-income nation, deforestation and land use changes continue to drive by profit motives, and today it become a major threat to the ecological environments, human well-being, and the long-term economic sustainabilities. Over the years, the cleared areas are largely converted to become agricultural use, and this encroachment into natural ecosystems has been exacerbated by fragmented land management, loophole in land acquisitions policies, and insufficient centralized planning. And under Malaysia federal constitutions, the land and forest governance falls under the state jurisdictions. This means that each state has the authority over its forest resources, and they can enact forestry laws and policies independently. The federal government role is limited to only provisions of advice and technical assistance to the states, as well as the conduct of research and training, and act as a maintenance of experimental and demonstration stations. However, the decentralized systems has shown clear crisis evidently. After the Indonesian government passed the Decentralized Forest Management Law in 1999, local government began to view the forest as a revenue source for local development. And this led to unchecked issuance of logging licenses and accelerating deforestations. And in this video, I will discuss two case studies from Johor exploring how the state-controlled land policies have contributed in accelerating deforestation in the southern part of Peninsular Malaysia. Along the southern regions of Peninsular Malaysia, there exists a coastal pterocarp and freshwater swamp forest called the Jemalong Forest, located in Johor at the southern part of Central Forest Spine to Secondary Linkage 4. Such pterocarp forests are a treasure trove of biodiversity, offering immense ecological, economic, and scientific value. These natural ecosystems used to be home to nearly 20% of Malaysian critically endangered species, including the Sunda pangolin, the endangered species such as the Asian elephants and the Malayan tiger. Unfortunately, in December 2014, the Johor state government degazetted the Jemalong Forest Reserve, leading to clearing and conversions about 15,000 out of 18,000 hectares of primary humid forests into plantations and mining areas, and primarily under the directive of the Sultan of Johor. Because the state government hold the ultimate authority over the land and forest matters, such strategic decisions to degazette forest reserve can contradict national conservation policies. For example, by reclassifying permanent reserve forests as a private or agricultural land. These policy loopholes place permanent reserve forests in a vulnerable positions, exposing them to the risk of unsustainable land conversions and further biodiversity loss. The second case is focused on Endaropin National Park, ENRP, located only 60 to 80 kilometers away from Jemalong Forest Reserve. It was first proposed in 1971. This national park was first aimed to conserve Sumatra rhinoceros. The plan was initially rejected by the state government, and it wasn't until 1987 finally the Johor state government declared ENRP as a state-controlled national park. And it is now the second largest national park in Peninsular Malaysia after Taman Negara. Sadly to say, the last Sumatra rhinoceros in ERMP was poached in 2003. Besides just being the direct poacher target, the indirect pressuring that caused the populations of Sumatra rhinoceros to decline was driven by the land use conversions, logging, and habitat degradations. According to Fu and Numada, large core area forests in ERMP decreases from 24% in 1992 to 14% in 2016. During this period, the outskirt regions also lost nearly 40% of their forest area and experiencing the highest fragmentations. From both case studies, the underlying cause of ongoing deforestation lie in the foundational issues of weak law enforcement and governance gaps. As we all know, our nation's natural land, forests, water are dictated by the state government. However, this authority structure causes the land use planning to operate in silo, which can undermine the effectiveness of projects that could influence the ecological functions, such as maintaining clean river streams, controlling floods, and preserving biodiversity to prevent human-wildlife conflicts. Understanding the threshold of forest conversions and the land use rights in different areas is an essential component. Therefore, we need an integrated, nationally coordinated land use planning systems that includes conservation's priorities. Yes, the Central Forest Spine is a national ecological network designed to reconnect fragmented forest complexes, forming a continuous habitat that sustains biodiversity. However, centralized land use planning goes beyond this. It helps to identify areas of high ecological value that requires protections and management. Once these major functional zones are identified, control measures such as banning exploitations and limited development can be enforced across the country, including the protected areas. And for the buffer zones outside the protected areas, the Johor state government could strengthen regulations to prohibit the harmful activities around the national park, including clearing land for farms, mining, herding, harming, and hunting protected wild animals, collecting endangered wild plants, lighting fire, and littering. Alongside all these protections in place, the state government can also promote ecotourism by aligning it with natural reserve, placing the emphasis on the protections of natural, cultural landscape while ensuring the sustainable management of the natural ecosystem. For example, in China, the establishment of national scenic level has increased significantly over the years. These areas are guided by policies such as the Constructions Management Regulation Scenic Area, established in 1993. This emphasizes the ecological and cultural protections, tourism management, and sustainable development. Such initiatives are meaningful because they require scenic area to be located in natural or near natural status, reflect the evolution's process of that significant and historical events, and possess a sense of representativeness and importance, and also limit the development quota of covering a minimum of 50 square kilometers. In addition, in most developed countries, the preservation and management of a highly protected area do not fall entirely under the control of state government. In Malaysia, land use decisions are strongly empowered at the state level, where federal institutions have limited authority to intervene in how land is utilized and developed. The Johor lowland littoral carp forests are among the most biodiverse ecosystems in Peninsular Malaysia, serving as habitats for many critically endangered species. Because of their ecological importance, the protections of these forests should be regarded as a national responsibility, not just a state concern. For example, in China, all land is under state government and collective ownerships. The state and managers of collectively owned lands, typically the villages committees, both have the authority to decide how land is transferred to various parties. However, any potential projects are subject to approval by high level of government. Decision making in this system involve both agency leaderships at each government levels and the head of local government. The agency leadership focus on the technical issues such as environmental protections, while the local government handle administration's role, emphasizing economic growth and maintaining the social order. This model demonstrated how coordinations across multiple levels of governance can balance environmental and economic priorities effectively. In conclusion, Johor is experiencing a widespread of forest loss and fragmentations, especially in the unprotected core forest area and the outskirt regions of the protected zones. These land use changes poses serious threat to the ecological connectivity under the Central Forest Pine Master Plan for the southern part of Peninsular Malaysia. Therefore, we must strengthen our governance by adopting a more centralized and coordinated planning that involve multiple layers of decision making. And it is also crucial to ensure there are diverse qualified personnel from different fields to contribute their perspective for the land use changes before a final decision is only left to a single state or entity. And only through unified planning, strong enforcements, and a deep sense of respect for our ecological, historical, and cultural heritage, we Malaysians only can protect our natural ecosystems for generations that are yet to come. And that's all for my presentations. Thank you for your time.